Greetings, friends. This evening, we embark on a journey into the dramatic depths of the Roman Colosseum, a realm where justice was a mere illusion. Lions roamed with insatiable appetites, and the art of subtlety was cast into the arena alongside. The unfortunate souls. Before you settle in, I invite you to take a moment to show your appreciation for the video and subscribe, but only if you truly resonate with what I share here. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Where are you joining us from? And what time is it in your corner of the world? It's always intriguing to discover the diverse individuals who come together from every corner of the globe. Now, let us gently lower the lights, perhaps activate a fan to create a soothing background hum, and together we shall embark on tonight's adventure. Behold the Roman Colosseum, a grand arena not crafted for the noble art of sportsmanship, but rather for the dazzling display of spectacle. Perhaps it served a dual purpose, allowing emperors to divert their attention from the mundane task of paperwork. In this day and age, grand stadiums stand tall, dedicated to the beautiful game of soccer. In ancient times, the Romans crafted grand arenas where tumult and excitement reigned supreme. Stepping into the Colosseum with hopes of fairness is akin to arriving with a picnic basket, only to find the skies unleashing a tempest. The disappointment would be palpable, a stark reminder of the unpredictability of the arena. The crowd sought not the harmony they once knew. They gathered not to witness the mightiest combatants, but to revel in the art of the fall. Each tumble a performance, each collapse a spectacle of drama and flair. Extra accolades for wildly waving limbs and sorrowful countenances. Let us speak candidly. The Roman interpretation of amusement was strong and resilient, a thrilling clash between two skilled warriors, each honed in the art of combat. Indeed, that unfolded. Yet it was the opening acts that graced the stage more frequently. Those entangled in the web of crime, the unfortunate souls held captive, or the ill-fated individuals who found themselves indebted to the wrong senator. Individuals were handed a sharp spoon and instructed to weave a tale filled with drama. And how they wove the drama into it. The Colosseum stood not merely as a stadium, but as a sanctuary for the soul of the city. In the bustling heart of ancient Rome, one could find a tapestry of life, woven with threads of stress and challenge, woes of pestilence, famines of grain, and the flickering threat of flames. Observing another endure a truly dreadful day within a safe setting was how individuals found solace, and it came without a cost. Backed by the emperor, the games unfolded as a grand spectacle, a vivid display of his desire for approval from the masses. You have grain, a seat, and a front-row view of a person fleeing from a furious elephant? What else could one desire? Even the very design of the structures fostered a sense of disparity. In the grand assembly, the emperor reclined in unparalleled comfort, while the senators were graced with plush cushions. The rest, however, found themselves on unforgiving stone benches, left to endure the relentless sun's embrace. What about the real individuals in the arena? They received an eager gathering. What about fairness? Design wasn't the main focus here. This was not merely a duel of blades. This was the enchanting spectacle of dinner theater in ancient Rome. Imagine a dinner where fried dormice graced the table, and the play concluded with a cacophony of screams. As a participant, your worth wasn't defined by the tally of victories or defeats. Your worth was gauged by the uproar of the audience as you stumbled over your own foot, tumbling straight into a net. There's a certain irony in compelling an untrained individual to face off against a well-armed expert, all under the watchful eyes of 50,000 spectators. In ancient times, the Romans spoke of this with a term that captured its essence: engagement and delight. In a world filled with game shows and cooking competitions, they sought out an adventure that danced on the edge of danger. Embracing the thrill of fewer constraints, step into the arena of the gladiator versus amateur. Match, a delightful spectacle where a seasoned warrior confronts, perhaps, a baker wielding a sword or a bureaucrat grappling with an existential dilemma. These were not mere fleeting errors. These were crafted with intention. At times, the participants were eager volunteers. At other moments, they were individuals facing dire consequences, and occasionally, they were simply folks who overlooked the crucial details in the agreement. Gladiators, in a twist that defies the narratives often spun in contemporary films, were not merely enslaved nobodies. Among them were those who offered their time freely, others who were well-known figures, and each one possessed exceptional skills. In their world, they thrived in teams, guided by mentors, embodying the spirit of athletes, yet adorned in greater protection and lacking the glitz of sponsorships. Now envision a scenario where one of them faces off against an individual who has honed their sword-fighting skills by observing the dance of shadows on a wall. The outcome was anticipated, and therein lay the essence. This was not a tale woven with suspense. This was a tale of grandeur. The crowd craved a spectacle, not a mere contest of equals. They yearned to rally behind the clear champion, all the while feigning belief in the underdog's chances. It was a scene reminiscent of a whimsical tale where one might envision a squirrel attempting to navigate the complexities of chariot driving in ancient Rome. And for the novice, a world of possibilities awaited them. Option 1, endure just enough to leave a mark of mild admiration. Choose the second path, endure until the audience's sympathy swells for your plight. Option 3, deliver a swift and striking blow that elicits laughter from the audience and earns a nod of approval from the emperor. Should you possess a certain allure or flair, you could very well find yourself granted a second chance. The Romans had a penchant for tales of the underdog, particularly when the protagonist was shedding just the right amount of blood. Yet more often than not, the fate of the contest was determined long before the first whistle blew. The audience was aware of it. The warriors were aware of it. Even the fellow sweeping the sand likely had an inkling of it. Imagine yourself standing in the bustling streets of ancient Rome, facing the weight of an accusation that could change your fate forever. Perhaps you took something that wasn't yours. Perhaps you gazed upon the emperor's statue for just a moment too long. Perhaps your neighbor simply harbors a strong dislike for you. Hark, you have earned the honor of a special appearance in the grand Colosseum. And when we say special appearance, we mean you'll find yourself face to face with a lion, intimately and quite unexpectedly. Imagine a world where the ancient practice of damnatio ad bestias, or condemnation to the beasts, unfolds a Roman tradition that prompts a thought-provoking inquiry. What if our justice system resembled a grand zoo? It was the answer of Rome to every challenge, whether it be theft or treason. Cast the accused into the arena, swing open the gate, let the music swell, and the chaos unfold. These lions were far from your typical felines. They arrived from distant lands, often from North Africa, and were celebrated like the brightest stars on stage. They enjoyed superior transportation compared to the average citizen, and at times even had access to more exquisite food. The captive, in the meantime, received a tunic and an unsettling feeling of impending despair. Without armor, without a weapon, every now and then a stick appears. For what could be more just than presenting someone with a mere twig and inviting them to weave a tale of wonder around it? This was not a battle. Once upon a time, there was a message. The empire didn't merely punish you. It wove you into the very fabric of the spectacle. As the curtain fell on those final moments, the crowd erupted in cheers, their excitement echoing through the arena. The emperor, with a satisfied grin, basked in the spectacle, while the worries of overdue rent faded into the background, lost in the thrill of the performance. Indeed, Families brought their little ones along. Why venture to the Forum when you can impart essential life lessons to your children, such as the perils of fraud, and the consequences that await? At times, those deemed lost astonished all around them. With swift feet, they dashed, evaded obstacles, and scaled heights. Once, there was a tale of a man who played the part of the lifeless so masterfully that even the great lion, fierce and proud, turned away, losing all interest in his prey. Regrettably, the audience did not respond as hoped. They ensured the tale continued to unfold. If you find yourself pondering the notion of excess, you would have found allies in the Romans. Yet this is only true if you propose to steer clear of lions. Such a choice would have shattered the delicate balance of beauty. Imagine, if you will, the lion match has drawn to a close, and the spectators have quenched their thirst for witnessing unarmed prisoners dance with destiny. What unfolds next? Of course, let's equip a few individuals and send them back in, yet with an abundance of creatures, and those of the most peculiar kind. Behold divinations, where the essence of survival meets the relentless fury of nature, all while our hero strides forth in gladiator sandals, ready to face the challenges that lie ahead. In these carefully orchestrated hunts, skilled combatants, or, truth be told, anyone who happened to be around and had managed to stay out of too many deaths, were armed and instructed to maintain a facade of calm. Imagine the Colosseum once a grand arena, now reimagined as a vibrant artificial wilderness. Artificial trees, brought-in sand, and perhaps a touch of greenery, if the funds allowed. Then the untamed creatures burst forth into the world. Leopards, bears, ostriches, rhinos, crocodiles, creatures that could stomp, charge, or leave an audience in a delightful state of bewilderment. Warriors were destined to confront them armed with spears, nets, or in certain instances, with nothing of aid at all. Once upon a time, there were tales of brave souls armed only with slings or sticks, their efforts proving as fruitful as shouting, "Please stop," at a rampaging boar, and lo, the twist reveals itself. It remained an uneven battle, albeit now tilted in the other direction. At times, the creatures found themselves unwell, sedated, or deprived, all to keep the situation under control. At times, they found themselves cast into a whirlwind of confusion, caught between the impulse to strike or to perform in a heart-wrenching tail dot. It held no significance. The aim was not merely to endure, but to dazzle and captivate. Did the audience hold any concern for the creatures? Not particularly. When a rhino sent a man soaring through the air like a whimsical coin, the crowd erupted in cheers. Should the man emerge victorious, their cheers would swell to a thunderous crescendo. In this tale, there was only the thrill of the experience, a dance of joy and excitement, and from time to time, the creatures joined forces. In a tale of wild encounters, a bear and a lion, seemingly oblivious to the presence of humans, engaged in a fierce battle between themselves. The audience was captivated that it seems the organizer may have received a well-deserved promotion. It was neither the thrill of the hunt nor the clash of battle. It was the tale of an empire that, having amassed great wealth, found itself with the leisure to explore new pastimes, ultimately transforming the very fabric of the food chain into a stage for spontaneous performances. At this point, the Roman Colosseum had woven a narrative thread, transformed the harsh into the bizarre, weaving a tapestry of the uncanny. Yet, when they sought to truly captivate their listeners, they delved into the rich tapestry of mythology. Why merely carry out a sentence when you can weave a tale of legend in the process? This charming custom was referred to as fatal charades. Not a game, alas, but a dramatic spectacle of public execution that intertwined narrative with imaginative sentencing. Imagine a doomed figure, adorned in the guise of Icarus, bound in artificial wings, and sent soaring from a precipice. Alas, he did not take to the skies. Indeed, it was quite bold. In the heart of ancient Rome, the tales of gods and heroes captivated the minds and hearts of its people. Deities, champions, sorrowful conclusions. Rather than silently confronting wrongdoers, they transformed their demise into captivating spectacles. The audience wasn't merely observing justice. They were witnessing a masterpiece unfold before their eyes. Art born from the depths of turmoil, nurtured by the very hands of authority. Consider the tale of Prometheus, for example. In legend, he finds himself bound to a stone, plagued by a relentless eagle that returns time and again. Within the grand arena of the Colosseum, they set aside the stone and embraced the artistry of stage props. Ah, but what of the eagle? That segment was genuine. Behold Orpheus, the sorrowful bard who ventured into the depths of the underworld in a desperate quest to reclaim his beloved wife. What about the Roman interpretation? A figure clad in a tunic, cradling a harp, strides purposefully through the arena while in a hushed manner an individual sets free a handful of large, distinctly disinterested creatures. The tale did not conclude with melodies. Ah, the crowd! They were utterly enchanted. At last, a delightful fusion of culture and entertainment awaits. One could sense a certain sophistication in acknowledging the legend, yet still find amusement, as the fellow in the Apollo wig stumbled over his own sandals. Did these performances stay true to the essence of the original tales? Not in the slightest. Yet, precision was not the aim. It was a grand display. If their recollection of the tale was accurate, splendid. Otherwise, they have crafted a fresh tale in which Hercules meets with the misfortune of losing a foot. Let it be understood, these were not performances. The performers were not merely actors. They were souls who had faced the ultimate judgment, now tasked with weaving a tale into existence before their curtain call in the final act. There is no final bow. Silence reigns. With a perfectly timed nod from the emperor, the crowd swelled with a sense of refinement, even as the echoes of a recent fall from grace lingered in the air. Just when you think the Colosseum couldn't get any more extravagant, Rome whispered, "What if we transformed it into a shimmering lake?" Indeed, in the annals of its early days, the Colosseum became the grand stage for spectacular mock naval battles, known as Naumachia. When you've transformed executions into a grand performance, it only makes sense to stage a maritime conflict, even in a venue far removed from the ocean's embrace. Ingenious Roman engineers, blessed with both skill and ample leisure, devised a way to inundate the arena floor, not through the use of symbolism, with real water. The kind that lifts vessels upon the waves and sends novice mariners into a flurry of anxiety. Once upon a time, there was a plan that was as straightforward as a winding path through a serene forest. Gather the crowd, introduce a handful of vessels, and orchestrate a clash with actual participants who frequently knew less about rowing than those watching. At times, these spirited mock battles brought to life the legendary sea clashes of the past. At other moments, it was merely groups of captives instructed to align, battle, and attempt to mask their unfamiliarity with an oar. Now, let us weave a tale about those boats. They were naturally less imposing than true warships. Imagine attempting to squeeze an entire fleet into an amphitheater and witnessing the unfolding chaos of that endeavor. Yet they were adorned with vibrant paint, fluttering flags, and genuine weapons, suggesting that the likelihood of someone taking a plunge, whether by accident, a nudge, or a spontaneous decision, was quite high. The spectators gazed down from their lofty perch, much like travelers on a cruise ship observing a chaotic feast ablaze, their expressions a blend of bewilderment and joy. It seemed that naval tactics were of little concern to anyone. They were eager to witness a spectacular moment, hoping someone would tumble off the boat in a truly unforgettable fashion. Extra accolades if they uttered something lyrical in the midst of it all. Indeed, There were instances filled with tension and emotion. Vessels crashing together, warriors vaulting over decks, comrades inadvertently jabbing each other with their spears. In truth, it was more about whimsical antics and vibrant attire than any grand naval tactics. In time, the Colosseum ceased its watery displays for these spectacles, likely due to the realization that water and ancient concrete are not the most harmonious pair for the ages. For a time, the Romans reveled in their sea battles, filled with splashes and laughter, despite the fact that half the participants were unable to swim and the other half struggled to steer at times, even the most. Carefully choreographed battles fell short of the desired intensity. In that moment, the organizers unveiled the party pack. Veils of darkness, binding chains, an array of incongruous armaments, and a flagrant defiance of the natural order and basic morality. What prompts this question? For the thrill lies beyond the realm of fairness. Yet witnessing an individual attempt to battle while shrouded in darkness? Utterly amusing, though perhaps not for the one with the blindfold on. A captivating twist often involves taking a skilled warrior and plunging them into a world of challenges, all for the thrill of the audience. Strip away their armor, diminish their weapon, or bestow upon them something utterly impractical, like a net, or even worse, a wooden sword. Nothing quite embodies the spirit of fortune like entering the arena with what can only be described as a whimsical stick from a child's playset. And so, we come to the shackles in the shadows of the arena. Fighters found themselves bound, their ankles and wrists shackled, a testament to the harsh realities they faced. Clearly, if you've honed your skills to endure an armed duel before a crowd of thousands, what you truly require is to be physically bound while engaging in such a spectacle. Additionally, it adds a layer of interpretation to the art of dodging. Some were compelled to battle while bound to one another. Indeed, to one another. They dubbed it the fateful contest of the three-legged race. Well, it may not have been formalized, but it certainly felt that way. Picture navigating the treacherous landscape while the frantic energy of another shapes your every step. As one falters, both tumble, and the audience erupts in chaos. Indeed, these clever devices were reserved for a select few. Gladiators represented a form of investment. Those who captivated audiences and built their renown were often shielded from the most absurd scenarios. Unless the spectators grew weary and the emperor sought amusement, then all wagers were cast. Aside, and we mustn't overlook the unexpected challenger that would emerge from the shadows. Just when you believe you're facing a single opponent, the ground beneath you shifts, revealing a hidden trapdoor. Out springs not just another foe, but perhaps a creature with menacing claws, ready to join the fray. Picture a WWE showdown where, out of nowhere, the ground erupts and a bear emerges, adding an unexpected twist to the battle in the days of yore. Ancient Rome embraced that notion with genuine intent. None of this was outlined in any guide, primarily because there was no guide, just a simple checklist. Does it captivate the imagination? Is it truly outlandish? Is it possible to tidy it up before the next match? One might envision the Roman Colosseum, with its tumultuous splendor, offering its spectators a moment of respite between the thrilling spectacles. A brief pause to stretch, savor some olives, and perhaps discuss the impeccable style of the gladiators. Accessories. Indeed, there was an intermission, but in the grand tradition of Rome, it transformed into a spectacle of its own. Welcome to the Meridiani, a moment of pause in the day's journey. As the sun rose, the day unfolded with thrilling beast hunts, and the afternoon beckoned with the clash of gladiators. Yet, as the clock struck noon, the atmosphere shifted to something more somber: public executions. A grim spectacle that somehow complemented the midday bread roll, embodying the empire's peculiar interpretation of justice. These executions were not mere acts of impulse. They were meticulously planned, orchestrated, and timed with the finesse of a well-rehearsed performance. The condemned, often those who had strayed into the shadows of society, criminals, deserters, or individuals who had crossed the wrong bureaucrat, were paraded before the crowd, a spectacle of justice delivered with a thunderous clarity, unencumbered by the chains of red tape. Amidst the calm, an unexpected twist awaited. This was not merely a clash. It was a message delivered with intent. Heed the empire's warning, and do not follow in his footsteps. And so, I invite you to savor your olives with delight. And the methods, well, they were nothing short of imaginative. At times it unfolded swiftly, a neat conclusion before the next. Act began. At times it became unnecessarily intricate, particularly when the individual had captured the public's attention. In the grand tapestry of Roman thought, justice was envisioned as a spectacle swift, dramatic, and best adorned by the presence of a toga-clad patron. At this juncture, the audience had grown accustomed to it. Children clamored for improved seating, vendors peddled their treats, and the crowd remained unfazed. If anything, their irritation grew as the event stretched on. "Come on," someone would whisper, "we're just here for the genuine contests." That's what renders this segment so ludicrous. For the audience, the executions were merely filler, akin to commercials. Rather than promoting soap, they illustrated the consequences of theft. And if that stirs discomfort, that's precisely the intention. The Colosseum stood not merely as an arena, but as a masterfully orchestrated display of dominance. Each moment, even the intermission, was crafted to serve as a reminder of the power dynamics at play and the consequences that followed any challenge to that authority. In the realm of contemporary athletics, it is the referees who wield the authority to make the decisive calls. In the grand arena of the Roman Colosseum, the climactic decision echoed from the throats of countless spectators, their bodies glistening with sweat, bellies full of bread, and spirits lifted by the indulgence of wine, perhaps 2 goblets deep into revelry. Indeed, in Rome, the pursuit of justice was a collective endeavor. In the aftermath of a gladiator match, the vanquished did not always meet their end right away. Should he engage with skill, or perhaps thrash about with fervor, the ultimate verdict lay in the hands of the spectators. Would he rise to dance another day, or become a legend whispered among the shadows of the past? Welcome the thumbs. You've likely come across the renowned gesture of disapproval that signifies demise. But here's the twist. Historians are not completely certain about the meanings behind each thumb. Some sources suggest that a thumbs up signified execution, akin to the drawing of a sword. Some believe that a thumbs down signified the act of sheathing the blade, a gesture of mercy. Some contend that the gestures transcended mere thumbs, leaning instead towards ambiguous hand movements that left gladiators yearning for the simplicity of scorecards in the Roman arena. The response from the audience was crucial, and they certainly held back nothing. They arrived at the Colosseum, eager to cheer, boo, and shout their unfiltered thoughts at those engaged in a fierce battle for survival. In a time long past, it resembled Yelp, yet adorned with more tunics and a scarcity of stars. Should a fighter fail to captivate, he may find himself met with silence, the most disheartening of fates. When he stirred the air with his presence, the audience cried out, caught between a play for salvation and a thirst for retribution. It was somewhat murky, to be truthful, yet resoundingly loud. Some gladiators sought the approval of the crowd. They captivated the audience. They were adored by many. Indeed, genuine communities of enthusiasts. Some warriors were celebrated by name, and a few even had their own merchandise. All right, while it may not be official merchandise, individuals adorned themselves with carvings of them. Similar concept. What if the emperor were to grace us with his presence? The tides turned swiftly into the realm of politics. He held the power to sway the will of the masses, bestowing clemency or demanding the ultimate consequence. In any case, he was attuned to the atmosphere, much like a performer on stage, yet with greater consequences and a scarcity of humor. It all hinges on the emperor's will. Though the games appeared to be a whirlwind of disorder, they possessed an oddly egalitarian spirit, particularly for the combatants involved. If you captivated your audience, you had a chance. Should you have missed it, the audience was primed to cast their votes, expressing themselves with their voices, their hands, and now and then their sandwiches. For within the Colosseum, the essence of survival transcended mere skill. It was all about captivating the audience and wishing for their benevolence. In the grand arena of the Roman Colosseum, where fierce lions and majestic tigers reigned supreme, one might imagine facing a myriad of formidable foes. Yet, amidst the roars and the clash of weapons, the unassuming wild boar stands as an unexpected contender, unlikely to be the first on anyone's mind. In the days of ancient Rome, pigs transcended their role as mere sustenance. They became a source of amusement and spectacle, and not in an endearing, petting zoo sort of manner. Wild boars were a serious matter. These were powerful, tusk-bearing giants of the woods, charging forth with their mighty hooves. Imagine them as the fierce projectiles of the natural world, rolling forth with relentless force and no hint of compassion. Picture this. One of them dashes towards you, the crowd roaring with excitement as you strive to embody the essence of heroism in a leather skirt. Gladiators underwent rigorous training for a multitude of skills. Yet the art of pig strategy was not among the lessons imparted. In the grand tapestry of ancient hunts, boars often found themselves summoned to the arena, fierce and untamed, pitted against brave fighters armed with spears. Each encounter a dance of survival and valor. At their moments. To add a dash of excitement, the boars made their entrance as unexpected guests in the heat of battle. Nothing could quite electrify a duel like a hefty 300-pound pig charging across the stage completely uninvited. In a remarkable incident, accounts recount an animal so fierce that it barreled through the props, disregarded its handler, and came perilously close to the front row. The Romans, they were captivated by it. Nothing exemplifies exceptional public funding quite like airborne pork. And if you're curious about how this qualifies as entertainment for the Roman audience, it was the element of surprise that truly captivated them. Once upon a time, there was a lion, a creature of unparalleled majesty. Once there was a tiger, a creature of sheer terror. But the boar. Now that was a scene to remember, full of unexpected laughter, particularly when it was overlooked by others. Even the mightiest of emperors joined the fray. Some organized themed hunts, proudly displaying their exotic animal collections, featuring notably fierce pigs, merely to demonstrate the abundance of their empire in both bacon and bravado. The warriors, in the midst of chaos, were primarily focused on their own survival. One could hone their skills to effectively parry a blade. One could foresee the presence of a human. But a wild boar, you say? That was utter mayhem embodied in swine, with tusks that transformed kneecaps into perilous obstacles. And in the illustrious spirit of Roman spectacle, the crucial inquiry was left unasked. Ought we to be engaging in this endeavor? They inquired, is there room for yet another boar in this tale? But they indeed could. And so it was that they frequently found themselves doing just that. The arena floor was a canvas of tales, each grain of sand whispering secrets of battles fought and legends born. Below, a maze of tunnels, cages, lifts, and pulleys sprawled. Out, each element meticulously crafted to spoil an unsuspecting soul's day. These ingenious creations enabled stagehands to elevate animals, props, or even whole set pieces into the arena with a captivating and eerie sense of timing. In the heart of the arena, You stand as a fierce warrior, muscles taut and glistening, under the relentless Roman sun. Victory is within your grasp when, without warning, the ground trembles and a leopard emerges from the depths below, ready to change the course of your fate. This is an additional piece, separate from the main event. This was no mere coincidence. Roman event planners, indeed, that was truly a genuine profession, thrived on the unexpected. Why settle for a conventional duel when you can transform it into an exhilarating obstacle course filled with concealed lions? But it wasn't solely about creatures. At times, chariots would emerge. At other moments, fire pits would flicker to life. And there were grand wooden structures crafted to evoke the essence of legendary realms, such as the underworld or a clumsily fashioned volcano. Every element crafted to captivate the audience while leaving the participants in a state of bewilderment. It transformed the battlefield into a grand performance, where the stage erupted into sheer pandemonium. You engaged in a battle that transcended mere competition. You battled the ground beneath you, the objects around you, and the nagging feeling that someone in the shadows was finding great amusement in your struggle. In the shadows beneath the stage, teams of slaves and workers maneuvered the trapdoors with a level of coordination that echoed the meticulousness of a military operation, or perhaps the delightful disorder of a circus performance. With a single misstep, a bear materialized in an unexpected scene, or even worse, vanished entirely, leaving two warriors in an uncomfortable dance, circling one another for what felt like an eternity. To the spectators, it was an exhilarating spectacle. For the fighters, it served as a humbling reminder of the importance of awareness and agility, for in the Colosseum, one faced more than mere adversaries. Before you lay the intricate tapestry of architecture, the artistry of stage, design, and the Roman Empire's relentless pursuit of shocking its audience with the unexpected and the unsettling. Should the deities truly hold the valiant in high regard, then it stands to reason they would also cherish those who deftly avoid tumbling through a trapdoor in the midst of their triumphant stance. Upon initial observation, the clashes between gladiators appear to be the most equitable events in the grand spectacle of the Colosseum. Two skilled combatants, perfectly paired, stand ready to clash before a vibrant audience, reminiscent of ancient battles, but adorned in more splendid attire. Yet, in the heart of Rome, the concept of fairness, as ever, hangs in the balance. In the grand arena of competition, there were moments where the struggle was palpable, drawing the audience in with bated breath. Yet, lurking in the shadows, were contests that unfolded with the swiftness of a well-orchestrated scheme, leaving little doubt about the outcome. In the arena, one combatant stands as a battle-hardened veteran, a master of the craft with tailies etched in every scar, while the other is a trembling novice, still grappling with the basics of their blade. And as for weapons, well, don't let your imagination be confined to the ordinary. The unexpected awaits around every corner. In the arena, one warrior wielded a gladius and a shield, while the other danced with a net and a trident. This wasn't merely a matter of strategy. It was a spectacle crafted for the audience, a delightful chaos orchestrated by those who thrived on the unexpected. These peculiar combinations were bestowed with names. The clash between the secutor and the retiarius, the one wielding the trident, captivated audiences like no other. One donned a suit of shining armor, a grand helmet perched atop their head, and the time-honored gear of old. One was nearly bare, wielding a fanciful fish fork, and depended on swift movements to escape peril. It was less a clash of equals, and more a question of whether the swift feet of Macbeth could evade being crushed. What accounts for the discrepancies? For it was the very essence of Rome to embrace the beauty of contrast. The vision of two equally equipped warriors was uninteresting, yet imagine a massive armored tank clashing with a slender, almost bare figure wielding a rope. Ah, What a delightful spectacle! In the arena, when a gladiator found himself with a swelling crowd of admirers or a powerful patron to dazzle, the scales of fate could very well tip in his direction, not for the sake of proving his worth, but to enhance his allure while claiming victory. Gladiators transcended mere combat. They were valuable assets in the grand arena of life. Strolling through the world of iconic labels, when an individual showcased a remarkable winning streak or an unforgettable fighting technique, the empire took notice, captivated by the unfolding tale. Devotees collected figurines while young. Ones brought their triumphs to life through playful reenactments. Though it wasn't sanctioned, the spirit of merchandising thrived in the shadows. Indeed, there were moments when they were granted a straightforward triumph, merely to ensure their survival. The defeated combatant? Ah, he was a figure lost in the shadows of memory, perhaps a victim of fate's cruel hand, perhaps a blend of both. For within the Colosseum, the notion of balance danced like a fleeting shadow. The crowd gathered not for the spirit of fair play. They arrived to witness a figure seemingly outmatched and perhaps cleverly outmaneuvered. What if, against all odds, that individual emerged victorious? Ah, what a tale that was! Should you believe the Roman Colosseum is merely a stage for swords and sand, prepare for a revelation. It was also about the art of weaving narratives, and not the kind that unfolds when someone takes a heavy blow and tumbles into a theatrical descent. Indeed, this was a tale of politics. The Colosseum served a purpose far beyond mere entertainment for the crowds. It was a finely tuned apparatus, crafted with precision to ensure that all were acutely aware of who held the reins of power. Each event, each match, every unexpected moment of releasing two tigers was woven into a meticulously crafted narrative of grandeur. Follow the path laid before you, or face the consequences. Executions transcended mere punishment. They were powerful declarations. Those deemed traitors, rebels, or merely bothersome to influential senators met their fates in grand and dramatic fashion, complete with elaborate backstories and staging that captivated the audience. Once upon a time, you found yourself caught in a scroll filled with unkind words. The following day, you find yourself stepping into the role of the fallen hero. Number 2, in a reenactment of a myth that you never sought to join. And what of the emperor? He wasn't merely observing. He was captivating the scene. He claimed the prime spot, of course, right in the middle, basking in the cool shade, perfectly positioned to offer a contemplative nod whenever a character met. Their dramatic end in a flourish of artistry. The audience was captivated by him, just as they were by the battles unfolding before them. His responses held significance. When he raised his thumb in approval, it transcended mere gesture. It became a proclamation in the grand tapestry of history. Certain emperors wielded the games as a means to weave favor among the hearts of their people. Ah, the age-old tale of bread and circuses, a reminder of the distractions that keep us entertained. Ensure the masses are nourished and entertained, and they shall remain blissfully unaware of the empire's financial unraveling. Some wielded it as a tool of fear. A public execution unfolds in this place, while the surprised lion makes an appearance over there, each moment brimming with inspiration. Imagine if fortune smiled upon you and you found yourself a celebrated gladiator. You might even wield influence in the realm of politics. Engage in battle with valor, and you shall embody the might of Rome. Decline to meet your end in the expected way? In an instant, you became a burden. At times, grand spectacles unfolded, intricately woven into the fabric of political tales. Commemorating a triumph on the battlefield? Wonderful. Let us bring it to life in the arena, complete with additional characters and the weight of real consequences. Welcoming a distinguished guest from abroad? Let us weave a tale of adventure and excitement. with tigers at the heart of it all. A spectacle unfolds as a man clad in shining armor leaps gracefully over a hippo, leaving the visiting official in awe. Indeed, the Colosseum stood as the grand stage for Rome's most brutal showcase of spectacle. Each grain of sand that fell and every grand tumble contributed to the empire's overarching narrative. Behold the might of Rome, a beacon of glory, ever vigilant and observing from its grand heights, amidst the chaos of mismatches, trapdoors, weaponized pigs, and the ever-present political undertones. One must ponder what kept the Colosseum alive through the ages. Uncomplicated. Rome was captivated by the allure of grand displays. These were more than mere performances. They served as vibrant gatherings, instruments of influence, bonds of community, and at times a touch of dubious healing for a society yearning for pastimes. In a realm vast and intricate, chaos reigned as flames danced through its heart, at times quite literally. Yet when the crowd witnessed a gladiator match, a sense of stability washed over the arena, and so the formula proved its worth. Once upon a time, a weary and weary-hearted citizen found themselves lamenting the dire state of grain shortages. But offer them a seat in the Colosseum, a tasty treat, and a front-row spectacle of a fierce battle with a panther in a wig. In an unexpected twist, the shadows lifted, and the world revealed its brighter side. That's the foundation of constructing an empire. Divert, enchant, reiterate, and it captured the hearts of emperors. The gains bestowed upon them immediate acclaim. Looking to captivate the audience after increasing taxes? Gather for a week of celebration and joy. Did I inadvertently offend the Senate? Unleash a parade of fiery chariots and majestic tigers. But do you wish to instill a sense of uncertainty in someone? What if his adversary took on the role of the hero in a reimagined tale, only to neglect to mention that it was all just a metaphor? The Colosseum served as the very first platform for sharing stories and experiences. Endless tales of change, endless intrigue, a realm where destinies were forged, adversaries vanished, and a solitary gesture could shape your reputation forever. Alas, there is no comment section to be found. It was either thunderous applause or utter silence, the latter of which in Rome was akin to a resounding rejection. Yet, even the mightiest of empires eventually find themselves weary. As the years passed, the spectacles gradually lost their grandeur. The animals are more challenging to bring in. The audience was not as captivated. As the mighty empire of Rome began to falter, even the grand Colosseum seemed to echo the whispers of a bygone era. Grains of sand and rugged stones may fade with time, just as fleeting moments of focus slip away. Yet the echoes of the past remained. Even today, the Colosseum stands not merely as a sports arena, but as a testament to the lengths a society will traverse for the sake of entertainment. Life had dealt an uneven hand, it lacked compassion. Yet it lingered in memory, impossible to erase. When you craft a grand spectacle for 50,000 souls, igniting it with flames, steel, and the weight of governance, you're not just seeking nuance. You're reaching for the annals of time. Picture yourself as a farmer in the lush landscapes of ancient Ireland. As the calendar turns to April 30th, the winds begin to whisper their secrets, hinting at the changes to come. As you gaze across the undulating hills, a mischievous thought escapes your lips. Ah, it seems the moment has come to ignite a little chaos once more. Welcome to Beltane, the ancient Celtic fire festival that transcended mere celebration of summer's arrival. It was a testament to the resilience required to endure the season. While contemporary individuals may reach for a bottle of sunscreen and grumble about the sweltering heat, your forebears were engaged in the labor of stacking wood and herding cattle amidst the crackling glow of two roaring bonfires. What prompts such a question? For they held a belief that the smoke possessed the power to cleanse, safeguard, and perhaps even captivate the spirits that dwelled nearby. In this world, Fire transcended mere utility. It was a vibrant entity, a bridge connecting different realms. Igniting it was not a mere act, it was a reverent ritual. The Druids, the revered guardians of the spirit, held the sacred duty of tending to the flames. With fervent chants and grand gestures, they would conjure a central bonfire, the need fire, from which every household flame in the region would be rekindled. Imagine it as a divine refresh, igniting a flurry of energy and excitement, all while leaving behind the need for instructions. As the flames danced and flickered, the villagers guided their livestock, those very cows and sheep, through the space. Between the two roaring fires, it may seem a touch extravagant, yet this served as a safeguard against illness and adversity. Do you desire your cattle to thrive and flourish? Guide them through the flames. Desire to maintain your fertility? Embrace the thrill and jump boldly through the flames. Nothing evokes the essence of romance quite like a touch of mild singeing. And naturally, there was dancing, whether in the buff or dressed, influenced by the year and the quantity of mead consumed. Couples may leap through the flames, intertwining their destinies, while solo dancers aspire to invoke celestial forces for a touch of divine romance. Beltane transcended mere celebration. It embodied a sacred rite of seasonal metamorphosis, a blazing connection between the realm of the living and the mystical beyond. As the flames flickered and faded, the glowing embers drifted into the fields, bestowing the gift of warmth and light upon the earth. Now, let us depart from the misty hills of the Celtic realms and journey into the scorched, sun-drenched core of ancient Persia. In this realm, fire was not merely a flickering flame to be circled with caution, praying for the well-being of your flock. It was a majestic entity, a sacred power that demanded nourishment, respect, and was to be approached with the utmost reverence. Step into the realm of Zoroastrianism, a venerable faith that stands among the oldest of monotheistic traditions, where fire transcended mere reverence to embody the very essence of truth. Indeed, it was named Atar, a vibrant emblem of Asher, representing the celestial harmony of existence. That meant fire was not merely a helpful companion in the kitchen. It stood as a radiant symbol of the harmony of the cosmos. So, take it easy. At the heart of devotion stood the fire temple, a sacred space where the Mobids, revered priests, nurtured the eternal flames that had danced for years, and in some cases for centuries. Envision them as celestial custodians draped in flowing robes, wielding not extinguishers, but fragrant bundles of sandalwood and feathers from eagles, ready to soothe and refresh the air around them. The vision was clear. This flame must be preserved, unwavering, pure, and untouched. Releasing it into the world? That was truly a celestial blunder, a monumental misstep in the grand tapestry of existence. The fire rituals danced beyond mere static worship. In the heart of major festivals such as Sada and Chahoshon Basuri, entire communities gather to ignite bonfires in public squares, celebrating the themes of creation, rebirth, and the timeless struggle between light and darkness. Individuals would spring over the flames, their voices rising in unison, invoking phrases such as, "Grant me your vibrant hue," "Strip away my wan complexion," which, if we're being truthful, is essentially the age-old Persian take on the idea of a fresh start for the new year. In these moments, sparks ignited in a way that transcended mere metaphor. The flames danced and whispered secrets, sending heartfelt wishes soaring to the skies, while simultaneously keeping at bay the shadows and misfortunes that might have been lurking just beneath your feet. Even the solemn rituals of farewell shunned the direct embrace of flame. But why? For that reason, it would tarnish its purity. Fire must remain untainted, untouched by judgment, akin to a timeless confidant who has witnessed everything yet remains silent. In the Persian perspective, fire was not merely an element to be controlled. It was a hallowed bond linking mankind to the celestial design of the universe. A gentle, dancing light indeed, yet also a fierce reminder to tend to your spirit and your fuel with care. Now we embark on a journey back to ancient Greece, where fire festivals transcended mere holy ceremonies and transformed into vibrant athletic competitions. For the Greeks, honoring the gods was not merely an act of prayer. It was a fervent sprint towards divine favor by the light of the flames. The torch race, known as Lampidodromia, stood as the hallmark of the festivities. Envision a revered passage where athletes exchanged glowing torches like fiery wands throughout Athens. And the aim transcended mere swiftness. It was to sustain the flame's brilliance. Should you let your flame flicker out or fall from your grasp, you shall find yourself cast aside. Alas, you have let down both your city and the heavens above dot, in reverence to the deities linked to the flames of inspiration and the depths of wisdom. These races took place. In the realm of myth, there exists Hephaestus, the master of the forge, alongside Prometheus, the audacious Titan, who daringly pilfered fire from the heights of Olympus to bestow it upon mankind. A daring act that led to an everlasting consequence. Of liver-pecking from Zeus, a fate that, in the realm of Greek mythology, is merely a gentle reprimand. The torch race transcended mere competition. It was a performance steeped in tradition. Through the unwavering glow of the flame, the runners embodied the timeless endurance of divine wisdom, a legacy handed down to humanity. To hold the fire was merely the beginning. One had to demonstrate the skill to bear it with grace, avoiding the clumsiness of a novice in the forge of the master craftsman. And this was no mere stroll through the olive groves. In the stillness of the night, the races unfolded, illuminated solely by the flickering flames of torches that danced through the shadows, weaving tailies across ancient temples, towering columns, and bewildered animals. The visual impact was crafted. With purpose, the deities observed closely, and it was essential to present it in an epic manner. Within the narrative, there existed profound symbolic depths. Prometheus' gift of fire was more than mere warmth or cooking fuel. It symbolized intellect, transformation, and rebellion. By celebrating him through torch races, the Greeks were not merely revisiting a tale. They were weaving a narrative of their own cunning resistance, their quest for enlightenment, even when it demanded a sacrifice from the heavens. Victors were adorned with a crown or a small statue, perhaps even a jar of olive oil, for we are indeed in the land of Greece. Yet the true treasure lay in the glory, and perhaps a fleeting respite from the wrathful deities wreaking havoc on your harvests. So the next time you witness a modern Olympic torch relay, remember that it transcends mere sports tradition. It is a vibrant echo of ancient Greek reverence for the stolen fire, a symbol of cosmic rebellion, and the enduring craft of sprinting swiftly while skillfully avoiding singed eyebrows. From the vibrant torch relays of Greece, we now journey eastward to the ancient lands of India, where fire was not merely taken from the gods, but revered as the very essence of divinity itself. Allow me to introduce Agni, the Hindu god of fire, a figure who transcends mere warmth and light, serving as a celestial messenger in the grand tapestry of existence. What part does he play? Send your gifts from the ground to the sky, through flames with unwavering assurance, no lost treasures, no need for a help desk dot in the sacred ceremonies of ancient India. Known as Vedic rituals, Agni served as the vital link connecting humans to the divine. Every prayer deserving of reverence required fire, but not just any fire. It had to be kindled with care, nourished with clarified butter, ghee, the sacred essence of every rite, and accompanied by the melodic flow of mantras. These were known as yajnas, revered to such an extent that priests dedicated their whole lives to perfecting the art of these sacred rituals. Imagine it as a fervent dance with the flames of the spirit, infused with fragrant incense and devoid of any need for insurance claims. In a traditional yaina, a sacred fire pit known as a haven kund was meticulously crafted, often featuring elaborate geometric designs that harmonized with the celestial forces above. The fire had to be summoned into existence through the gentle dance of friction or the power of sacred chants, with no matchstick in sight. Once ignited, Ugni sprang to life. Vibrant and fierce dot, it wasn't merely a flickering flame. It was a divine encounter, a gaze shared with something celestial. Yet this was not merely a fleeting moment. In the most devoted homes, eternal flames flickered with unwavering light, a sacred fire that endured through the ages, handed down from one generation to the next. When a fire extinguished, it wasn't merely a hassle. It was a profound crisis of the spirit. Some whispered that it might disrupt the delicate harmony of the cosmos. Picture yourself as the one who inadvertently doused a sacred fire with water. Oh dear, that hardly captures the essence of it. In the vibrant tapestry of cultural traditions, fire festivals such as Lori and Maka Sankranti emerged, weaving the threads of Vedic heritage into the fabric of seasonal celebrations. These gatherings, rich with bonfires, songs, and offerings, beautifully signify the transitions of agriculture, illuminating the connection between the earth and its people. It was a celebration shrouded in wisps of smoke, a cleansing ritual alive with flickering sparks. Unlike other customs that maintained a distance from the flames, here the fire was embraced, vibrant and deeply honored. Ugni was not merely a force to be feared, but a revered presence, akin to an ancestor, bearing witness to every vow, every birth, and every soul's departure. In the realms of ancient India, fire danced as a divine messenger, while in the land of ancient Egypt, it was revered as the very breath of the sun, the embodiment of God himself. The flames danced with a purpose, a divine force manifesting in Ra, the sun god, who traversed the heavens in his fiery vessel. Each night, he engaged in a fierce battle against the chaos serpent lurking in the underworld, fueled by the brilliance of celestial fire. Take your time, Ra, yet let us delve deeper into the human rituals. For while Ra reorchestrated the journey of the sun, the Egyptians reveled in their own fiery celebrations. Fire served not merely as a source of warmth. It embodied the essence of purification, protection, and the promise of rebirth. In the quiet of dawn, temples were crafted to embrace the first rays of sunlight, illuminating their shadowy corners as though the divine were igniting the glow within. Behold the renowned fire ritual, the Feast of Opet, also known as the Wepet. Renpet Festival, a celebration that heralded the arrival of the new year. It was no ordinary countdown with fireworks. Instead, it unfolded as a grand multi-day spectacle filled with priests, swirling incense, sacred offerings, and at the heart of it all, ceremonial torches carried in majestic processions. These flames held deeper meaning. They symbolized Ra's life-giving energy, a force returning to the earth to dispel shadows and heal ailments. It was akin to a divine cleansing, infused with the magic of celestial fireworks. In the realm of funerary practices, fire emerged as is a vital yet meticulously controlled element. In ancient Egypt, the practice of cremation was deemed too definitive for their beliefs. Instead, they embraced the fragrant smoke of incense and sacred oils, weaving them into the tapestry of their burial rites. The tendrils of smoke that spiraled from the offerings were thought to lift the very essence of the soul, guiding it gently on its voyage into the afterlife. And if the aroma found favor with the divine, all the better. In the sacred spaces of ancient temples, priests tended to eternal flames, especially in those honoring Ra or his fierce daughter, Sekhmet, a goddess with the head of a lion, whose wrath was best avoided at all costs. Her festivals were adorned with fire rituals, crafted to soothe the wild spirit that dwelled within her. Indeed, there were occasions when the beard was dyed a striking red to resemble blood, for the Egyptian deities had a penchant for symbolism and a flair for the dramatic. The flames in Egypt danced with purpose, a harmonious display of light and divinity. It arrived adorned with ancient scrolls, melodic hymns, and intricate schedules woven together like a tapestry of time. Each flicker was woven into a tale. We venture into the lush jungles and towering highlands of ancient Mesoamerica, where fire was not merely a symbol of life, but the very force that drove the cosmos itself. Maintaining that engine in motion demanded more than mere candles and well-meaning thoughts. In the realms of the Aztecs, Maya, and Zapotecs, fire emerged as a revered power, intricately weaving through the fabric of time, nurturing agriculture, and shaping the destinies of humankind. But they didn't just play with simple festivals. They orchestrated grand calendrical fire resets. Step into the new fire ceremony, a momentous event that unfolds every 52 years, marking the completion of the sacred cycle of the Aztec calendar. A celestial event reminiscent of Y2K, yet with far greater consequences and a scarcity of tech experts to navigate the chaos. As the ominous day drew near, every flicker of flame was snuffed out throughout the realm. In the shadows of the night, cities fell silent, and the echoes of despair resonated as people cast aside their cherished possessions. They engaged in fasting and prayer, their hearts heavy with the weight of uncertainty, as they braced themselves for the possibility that the world as they knew it could come to an end. As the clock struck midnight, the priests made their way to the sacred hilltop, where they engaged in a solemn heart sacrifice. It was only when the heart had been scorched and a fresh flame ignited within the chest, indeed, that the fire was proclaimed anew. From this singular divine spark, every hearth throughout the empire would be reignited, casting warmth and light into the hearts of all. Fire embodied a cycle of renewal, an unbroken thread of existence, and a testament to the universe's grand design. Should the flames refuse to dance, the dawn may never break anew. Take your time. In the realm of the Maya civilization, the flickering flames held a significant place, illuminating the sacred moments of temple dedications and the grandeur of royal rituals. Freshly constructed temples stirred to life with the embrace of flames. In the heart of the central chamber, they would ignite offerings, a ritual act to awaken the very essence of the structure, beckoning celestial beings to take residence within. Imagine, if you will, a king whose rise to power demanded the sacred flames of fire rites, where the fragrant incense wafts through the air, and at times the solemn act of ritual bloodletting unfolds, a testament to the seriousness of his claim to the throne. The Zapotecs displayed an unwavering dedication. In the heart of their beliefs, the fire god Cochilo reigned supreme, intricately woven into the fabric of stones and lightning. His festivals were vibrant celebrations, alive with bonfires, spirited dances, and the occasional spectacle of symbolic effigies ablaze, each one a fiery pinata bursting with divine energy. In the tapestry of these cultures, fire emerged as a conversation with the divine, yet it also stood as a call to action. It craved sustenance, yearning not merely for logs or copal resin, but for something far more profound. Sacrifice. The smoke didn't merely ascend. It whispered tales of the past. Now let us embark on a journey across the expansive Pacific, where islands emerge from the water like fiery stepping stones, each with its own tale to tell. For the ancient Polynesians, fire was more than a mere necessity. Once upon a time, there unfolded a tale of beginnings, a sacred legacy bestowed by deities dwelling within the majestic peaks. In the rich tapestry of Polynesian fire beliefs, one figure stands out, the goddess Peel, a fierce and passionate spirit of volcanoes, especially honored in the tales of Hawaiian mythology. She was not the serene figure of a hearth goddess, softly nurturing your cooking pot. She was a fierce tempest, conjuring islands from her molten fury, only to obliterate them in a surge of celestial wrath. In this culture, Honoring fire was not merely a choice. It was essential for survival. Legend has it that Peel resides within the Halimiamamu crater, perched atop Kilauea, a volcano renowned for its fiery activity. When it erupted, it wasn't merely a natural disaster. It was Peel revealing her true essence. The molten rivers traced her passionate path, transforming the earth in accordance with celestial design. Individuals placed their tributes by the craters, flowers, food, chants, and occasionally, even strands of hair or nails, because when a goddess is actively reshaping the land, it is wise to remain in her favor, docked in the enchanting realm of Polynesia. Fire festivals manifested in various captivating ways, yet none could rival the allure of the Siva Afi, the mesmerizing fire knife dance, still gracing the shores of Samoa and Tonga. Once woven into the fabric of warrior rituals, this dance captivated with its daring display of spinning flaming knives, as performers leaped, flipped, and boldly challenged the very essence of reason. It transcended mere performance. It was a profound expression of the soul. The fire knife emerged as a symbol of inner strength, weaving a dance with the spirits of our ancestors. In the tapestry of daily existence, Polynesians harnessed the power of fire to prepare meals in Umiu. There, sacred earth ovens illuminate the way during rituals and bridge the realms of the living and the spirit world. Fire served as the connection between what could be seen and what lay beyond sight, linking the earthly realm with the divine. Even the solemn farewell rituals were adorned with sacred torches and melodic chants, leading the spirit on a journey toward the ancestral realms beyond the waves. In the hearts of some islanders, there was a belief that ancestral spirits journeyed upon the dance of flames, their presence revealed in the flickering of torches or the gentle glow of fireflies. To overlook or mishandle fire was to court the ire of both deities and spirits. One might assume that the icy expanses of ancient Scandinavia would deter any fiery ceremonies. Yet the Norse embraced fire with a passion that defied the chill around them. In a realm of frozen fjords and ceaseless winters, the flame represented more than mere warmth. It embodied the essence of survival, both in body and in spirit. In the realm of Norse mythology, a captivating dance unfolds between the elemental forces of fire and ice, each playing its part in the grand tapestry of creation. In the beginning, the very essence of the world emerged from the fierce battle between Muspelheim, the fiery realm, and Niflheim, the icy domain. In the ancient expanse of Ginnungagap, where the primordial forces clashed, a magnificent spectacle unfolded. As the two entities collided, sparks erupted, illuminating the void. From this tumultuous chaos emerged the first being, Ymir, paving the way for the birth of the gods. Fire was not merely vital. It was both a creator and a destroyer, weaving tales of transformation and chaos, in the rich tapestry of Norse mythology. One figure stands out as a harbinger of dread: Surtur, the formidable fire giant hailing from the fiery realm of Muspelheim. It is foretold that during the cataclysmic event known as Ragnarok, he will emerge, wielding a blazing sword that ignites the very fabric of the world. What was his quest? Reduce the world to cinders. One can observe the profound respect that fire commanded in the tapestry of life. Fire festivals illuminated the passage of seasons, heralding the close of winter and the joyous arrival of the sun once more. Festivities such as Yule, which eventually intertwined with Christmas, were profoundly centered around the element of fire. Majestic logs crackled and glowed for days, greeting the Yule log, a symbol of the sun's triumphant return. As the flames danced and flickered, so too did the promise of fortune for the year ahead grow brighter. Igniting the Yule fire was more than a mere comfort. It was a safeguard woven into the fabric of the universe. During the vibrant midsummer festivals, bonfires danced in the night, casting their warm glow at the height of light, as spirits wandered with a sense of freedom with a daring leap over the flickering flames, a tradition woven into the fabric of various cultures. It was thought to bestow protection, enhance fertility, and perhaps even captivate the heart of a beloved. And when the curtain fell on life, it was fire that spoke the last truth. Viking funerals were not merely about longboats and the graceful flight of arrows. Indeed, cremation was a prevalent practice, as fire was thought to liberate the soul, guiding it to Valhalla or Folkvanger, the revered afterlife realms for warriors and the chosen ones. The flames purified, uplifted, and revered. It was a blend of goodbyes, a metamorphosis, and a touch of theatricality. In the realms of antiquity, fire held a dual nature. It was not merely a source of life, but also a discerning force. Casting its judgment upon all it touched, it has the power to embrace your dwelling or consume your very essence. In the tapestry of human experience, fire emerged as the ultimate trial, a sacred instrument of divine judgment, a means of spiritual cleansing, and a force of cosmic balance. In those times, the final word was just that, final, with no chance. For a second look, in the mystical realms of ancient India, fire transcended mere divinity. It stood as a silent observer of the unfolding tales of life. In the grand narrative of the Ramayana, Sita, the beloved wife of the valiant Rama, faced the harrowing trial by fire, quite literally. Having endured the harrowing experience of being taken and then saved, she bravely traversed the flames to demonstrate her unwavering purity. The flames, a manifestation of Agni, did not bring forth a verdict of guilt, but rather a celestial affirmation. She emerged untouched, embodying purity and innocence. A chaotic blend of gender expectations, indeed, yet also a vivid illustration of how fire emerged as the ultimate judge of truth. In the realms of medieval and ancient Europe, echoes of similar concepts emerged through the practice of trial by ordeal. In times of old, those deemed suspicious, whether they were labeled as criminals, witches, or merely victims of misfortune, faced harrowing trials by fire. They were often put to the test, forced to grasp a red-hot iron or tread upon the searing glow of coals, their fates hanging in the balance. Should their wounds mend without blemish, they bore no guilt. If that's the case, you likely wouldn't have wished to witness the final words of the tale. Though these trials may not have been the most uplifting of experiences, they illuminated the enduring conviction that fire held the power to unveil the will of the divine. In the ancient beliefs of Zoroastrianism, a fascinating idea took shape regarding fire as a symbol of judgment, embodied in the concept of the Chinvit Bridge, the pivotal crossing to the realm beyond life. Upon the moment of passing, souls would traverse a slender bridge, suspended above a river of shimmering molten metal. For those who had walked the path of righteousness, it would be as soothing as a cup of warm milk. Ah, the nefarious ones? Let's just say they found out that divine metal is anything but relaxed. Even the Aztecs, who revered fire with unwavering dedication, perceived it as a recurring challenge. Should their new fire ceremony falter, the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Fire, a divine blessing, held the power to transform into a celestial force of obliteration. That it served to remind humanity of its place, and perhaps added a spark of vulnerability. In the tapestry of these traditions, fire emerged as a reflective companion. The essence of what you contributed, be it truth, guilt, devotion, or fear, shaped the revelations it offered. In both hallowed ceremonies and daunting challenges, fire stood as the ultimate test of one's spirit. In the land of ancient Egypt, the act of paying taxes transcended mere economic responsibility. It was woven into the very fabric of spiritual duty. The pharaoh was no ordinary administrator. He served as the sacred link between the divine and the mortal, and thus, when he called for tribute, it was seen not as exploitation, but as a rightful exchange. It was regarded as a way to uphold the harmony of the cosmos, Maya, the divine order that governs the universe. There's truly nothing quite like the experience of being taxed by a deity to illuminate the grand tapestry of life. In the days of ancient Egypt, the concept of money was but a whisper in the sands of time. Yet the pharaoh, a figure of immense power and grandeur, found ways to fill his royal coffers. How, you may wonder, did this ruler of the Nile amass wealth without the currency we recognize today? Once upon a time, there was a humble grain, a bountiful abundance of grain, stretching as far as the eye can see. Each year, the Nile would rise, bestowing its life-giving waters upon the land, transforming it into a tapestry of fertile fields. Once the harvest was gathered, the scribes would make their entrance, scrolls unfurled, ready to meticulously record the bounty and determine the dues owed. With a blend of rope, sticks, and an invention born from sheer exasperation, they crafted their solution. Should your land yield 10 sacks, it is likely that 3 will be due to the state. Refusing to pay is simply out of the question. One might find themselves stripped of their land, their cattle, or perhaps unwittingly thrust into a state labor project, as if by some unseen hand guiding their fate. Indeed, one might also offer their efforts as a form of payment. The majestic pyramids of Giza were not the work of extraterrestrial beings or forced laborers. They came to be, in part, through the contributions of the public. In times of scarcity, when grain or goods were insufficient, one might find themselves called upon for public works, laboring to haul limestone, digging irrigation canals, or contributing to the grand construction of the latest shrine dedicated to Horus. Congratulations! You have now embarked on a journey within Egypt's National Infrastructure Initiative. The entire system was captured with great care by the scribes, those keen-eyed chroniclers who held the exclusive power of the written word. They chronicled every detail, from the amount of wheat you owed to the tax status of your donkey. Indeed, even creatures of the wild might find themselves subject to taxation. If it stirred and held worth, it's likely the state sought to claim its share. In the land of the pharaohs, the tax system stood as a formidable pillar, marked by its centralized nature and remarkable efficiency, wielding a heavy hand when the situation demanded it. Yet it possessed a certain adaptability. In times of famine or when the floods are unkind, tax collectors may lower their demands. This isn't driven by compassion, but rather a practical understanding that farmers who have perished cannot contribute to the tax rolls. Only the Romans could transform the most natural of bodily functions into a source of revenue. In the vast realm of polished marble and fierce gladiatorial contests, the art of taxation emerged as a complex tapestry, woven with threads of bureaucratic finesse and the echoes of legendary discontent. Imagine a world where taxes are levied on land, slaves, doors, and even urine. It's a curious reflection of governance, where the absurdity of charging for something as basic as relieving oneself speaks volumes about the efficiency of the system. Let us embark on a tale of the notorious urine tax, known as vectical uriny. In a time not so distant, public urinals and fullers' workshops became the unlikely custodians of human urine. This liquid gold, believe it or not, was harnessed as a source of ammonia, playing a crucial role in the art of bleaching clothing and tanning leather. Thus, when Emperor Vespasian came to understand the practical value of this bodily byproduct, he took the actions befitting a wise and prudent ruler. He imposed a levy on the collectors. When his son Titus raised a question about the morality of a certain tax, the phrase "money doesn't stink" or "pecunia non olet" came into existence. Vespasian extended a coin towards him, inquiring if it bore any scent. It simply did not. The point has been established, yet that merely scratches the surface of the grand imperial tale. In ancient Rome, a clever tax on windows was imposed, nudging citizens toward more modest architectural designs. Owning slaves carried its own costs, and the burden of inheritance taxes could significantly diminish the legacy you intended to pass on. In a curious twist of fate, a sales tax emerged, but it only touched the shoulders of free citizens. For those bound in servitude, however, there was no need for such levies. They were, in essence, already counted as a form of taxable property. In the days of old, the tax collectors, known as publicani, were far from beloved figures, often finding themselves on the wrong side of public opinion. These intermediaries made their payments to the state up front, securing the privilege to gather taxes, and then pressed the citizens for every last coin to line their own pockets. They were like the storied keepers of wealth, an age-old version of a private collection agency orchestrated by the shrewd minds of a hedge fund. And should you decline to settle the debt, you might find soldiers arriving to persuade you otherwise. In the midst of it all, the Roman taxation system became the lifeblood for remarkable endeavors, grand aqueducts, sturdy roads, magnificent temples, and bold military campaigns that expanded the empire's reach from the misty shores of Britain to the sun-drenched lands of Syria. One might contend that the taxes of Rome were the very foundation of civilization, while simultaneously being the force that led to its downfall, all depending on one's perspective. Indeed, there were uprisings against taxes. Provinces sighed beneath the heavy burden of tribute, and more than one uprising ignited with the question, how much? In the vibrant realm of Mesoamerica, the Aztec Empire orchestrated a tribute system that was nothing short of intricate and meticulously organized, a marvel in the annals of history. And indeed, it had nothing to do with gold or coins. It thrived on the richness of cocoa beans, the elegance of jaguar pelts, and feathers so exquisite they rendered European kings almost shabby in comparison. In contrast to contemporary tax systems, the Aztec approach to taxation was referred to as tribute, functioning much like an expansive imperial wish list. The emperor acted without seeking your approval. He sought the finest offerings from your region, delivered consistently and ideally without any justifications. In the grand tapestry of the Aztec Empire, each city-state or altpetal that succumbed to their dominion was bound by the duty of tribute, a practice carefully chronicled by the diligent scribes, known as Kalpixka. These men bore intricate manuscripts depicting the debts that were to be settled. Not mere digits, but vivid imagery. Mountains of maize, towers of cotton, clusters of obsidian, and indeed, bags of cocoa beans. Imagine it as a vivid illustration of a nightmarish bill. Once upon a time, cocoa beans held a special place in the hearts of many. They were not merely a delightful food or drink. They were treasures that served as currency, weaving tales of trade and value in the lives of those who cherished them. A few coins could procure a tamale, a cloak, or an evening spent at the local ritual of human sacrifice. They held such value that forgers attempted to carve them out and pack them with soil. Bold indeed, yet also an offense that could lead to the ultimate consequence. The tax collectors of Tenochtitlan were not to be trifled with. From the sweet nectar of the turkey's honey to the shimmering jade gold dust, and even to the cumbersome giant logs transported from distant forests, the tribute items weave a rich tapestry of offerings. In a land where valor was woven into the very fabric of existence, one province was tasked with the noble duty of crafting embroidered warrior costumes, each adorned with intricate designs, accompanied by sandals forged for the fiercest of battles. Another focused on the vibrant feathers of exotic birds, skillfully woven into magnificent headdresses for both nobles and deities. Picture yourself in a bustling village, attempting to convey the peculiar reason behind your tax obligation. A tribute of 30 vibrant parrots and the sleek hides of 2 majestic jaguars. Apologies, little ones, but it's that time again. Our adventure of chasing jaguars awaits. Neglecting to offer tribute may lead to fierce consequences. The Aztec tax collectors were bold figures, unafraid to confront rebellious provinces, which often found themselves facing military reminders of their obligations. Adhering to the rules was driven by the instinct to endure, rather than a sense of obligation to society. In the face of adversity, the tribute system wove a tapestry of resilience that allowed the empire to flourish. In the heart of the empire lay Tenochtitlan, a mesmerizing city adorned with floating gardens, radiant temples, and bustling markets, overflowing with treasures, all sustained by the labor of tributary towns. In the distant lands of ancient China, the matter of taxation unfolded not through extravagant punishments or peculiar offerings, but rather through a vast and intricate tapestry of scale. In a land where the population soared into the tens of millions, an empire stretched endlessly, China crafted a bureaucratic tax system so immense and meticulous that it would surely bring tears to the eyes of Roman senators as they drowned there. Sorrows and wine. Let us embark on our journey with the essentials, the humble rice and the toil of hands that cultivate it. In the era of the Han Dynasty, the peasant stood as the sturdy foundation of the economy, contributing through three main forms of taxation: grain, cloth, and corvée labor. Grain poured into the empire's storied granaries. Cloth was bestowed upon state officials, and labor, that meant long weeks or even months spent away from home, toiling on canals, roads, or perhaps the grand renovation of a great wall. Imagine it as the time of year when taxes loom. Yet instead of sorting through documents, you're laboriously transporting bricks across the vast expanse of the Gobi. As the empire transformed, so too did its levies. In the era of the Tang Dynasty, a remarkable innovation emerged: the two-tax system, crafted with the intention of bringing simplicity to the complexities of taxation. Twice a year, the payments were due once, as the summer sun blazed overhead, and again as autumn leaves began to fall. These payments were determined by the expanse of land you tended and the number of souls you had lounging about, consuming your precious rice. In principle, it seemed just. In the realm of practice, tax collectors wielded a malleable interpretation of fairness, and then emerged the salt tax, the subtle architect of empires. Instead of imposing an equal tax on all, the government chose to burden the people with a hefty tax on salt, an essential part of daily life. In an era when the absence of refrigerators was keenly felt, the necessity was undeniable, and thus the state reaped a bountiful fortune. For ages, the wealth from salt has been the lifeblood of armies, the foundation of grand palaces, and the assurance of bureaucrats' livelihoods. It's a truth universally acknowledged that salt has been the foundation upon which empires were built. Yet, taxation transcended mere funding. It wove a tapestry of influence and authority. The act of taking a census unfolded like a captivating tale, much like the meticulous craft of land surveys and the careful documentation of household registries. What is the aim? To uncover the precise amount of rice you cultivated, the number of sons you raised, and to discern if there was a second ox concealed behind the barn. Naturally, it wasn't a tale woven with only order and harmony. In the annals of history, one of the most significant sparks igniting the flames of peasant revolts was the burden of excessive taxation. A vivid example of this can be found in the Yellow Turban Rebellion, which erupted with fervor during the late Han period. In times of desperation, when the farmers face hunger, yet are still compelled to surrender a significant portion of their rice, the consequences can be dire. In a time long past, before the modern accountant ever thought to request your W-2 South, the ancient Mesopotamians were crafting the intricate practice of taxation. Armed with clay tablets and reed styluses, they navigated the complexities of fiscal responsibility, all while maintaining a strict stance against imaginative deductions. In the ancient realm nestled between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, The Sumerians, Babylonians, and Assyrians forged the very first tax system, giving rise to history's inaugural grievances regarding taxation. In a time long past, rather than relying on paper forms, skilled scribes meticulously carved tax records into the pliable embrace of soft clay. In the ancient world, countless cuneiform tablets emerged, chronicling the minutiae of daily life, from the contributions of barley to the meticulous records of livestock tallies. Should you believe your local tax office moves at a snail's pace, imagine the wait for your grain levy to be recorded by a fellow etching symbols into the earth. The essential tax? Once upon a time, there was a humble grain known as barley. In the ancient city-states of Uruk and Lagash, the farmers would offer a share of their bountiful harvests to the temple or palace, a practice woven into the fabric of their society. And the temples were not merely places of worship. They thrived as vibrant economic centers, bustling with tax officials, filled with storerooms, and presided over by unexpectedly stern priests. Yet there was more than just grain. In the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, fishermen found themselves subject to taxes on their bountiful catches. Traders faced levies on their precious goods, and craftsmen were required to pay for the very workshops where their creativity flourished. Not even the donkeys were spared. With a trusty donkey or a sturdy cart at your disposal, you had crossed the threshold into the realm of taxable transport ventures. Congratulations, you are now part of a bustling trade. In the era of the Babylonian King Hammurabi, the art of taxation took on a new form, becoming more organized and systematic. In the annals of history, a renowned legal code emerged, one of the earliest known to mankind, delineating the consequences for those who dared to evade taxes, overcharge the officials, and manipulate the system for their own gain. In certain instances, the consequences were far more severe than a mere fine. They could lead to death or dismemberment. So if you ever find yourself grappling with the complexities of your modern tax form, take a moment to appreciate that it doesn't carry the weight of a potential amputation. In the ancient lands of Mesopotamia, taxation wove itself into the very fabric of public works, creating a tapestry of communal effort and shared responsibility. In a time long past, the people contributed to their society in various forms, be it through bricks, silver, or the sweat of their brows, each playing a vital role in the grand tapestry of their civilization, constructing majestic canals, towering ziggurats, and formidable city walls. If you found yourself unable to settle your debts with goods, the state had the power to claim your time, or even the time of your children. There's a certain charm in the idea of lending your child to the temple for a while, a whimsical twist on the notion of fiscal prudence. Even with the passage of time, the Mesopotamian tax system displayed an impressive level of efficiency. It played a crucial role in overseeing vast urban landscapes, financing intricate irrigation systems, and bolstering military forces. In other terms, it prevented the entire endeavor from collapsing like a dried-out clay brick under the sun. In the days of ancient Greece, the matter of taxes was less a structured affair of governance and more a clumsy exchange of the financial burden among the people. In contrast to the grand centralized empires of Egypt or China, numerous Greek city-states, particularly Athens, thrived on a blend of civic pride, social dynamics, and cleverly concealed methods to sidestep taxes. Let us embark on this journey. By laying down the foundational elements. It was a time when the notion of direct taxation on the populace was a rarity, a whisper in the winds of governance. In ancient Athens, the citizens were not burdened by income tax as we experience in modern times. Rather, they were called upon to support the state through liturgies, a grand term for inviting the wealthy to step up and fund theatrical performance. A naval vessel, or a grand celebration, these weren't exactly taxes, yet good luck refusing and still receiving an invitation to dinner. In the midst of it all, the foreigners and medics, those resident aliens who called Athens home and contributed to its bustling life, were indeed required to pay their taxes. They had to pay a monthly fee for protection, which granted them the dubious honor of not being considered full citizens. In essence, I appreciate your presence here, but now it's time to share what you owe. Trade was yet another treasure trove waiting to be uncovered. Through the vibrant port of Piraeus, goods flowed in and out, and Athens deftly ensured it claimed its share with customs taxes, tolls, and docking fees. One might impose taxes on olive, oil, wine, or pottery, yet the realm of ideas remains untouchable. Words poured forth effortlessly from the lips of thinkers who, of course, held their own views on the matter of taxation as well. In the realm of governance, Plato envisioned a noble path where those in power embraced simplicity and dedicated themselves to the welfare of the state, rather than seeking personal gain. Aristotle, with his keen insight into the human condition, recognized taxation as an essential thread in the fabric of governance. Yet, he warned that when the burden becomes too heavy, it may stir the fires of rebellion among the people. In the midst of it all, the common Athenian yearned for nothing more than to keep the tax collectors at bay, allowing their precious grape harvest to flourish in peace. And so we arrive at the true antagonists of our tale, the tax farmers. Instead of gathering taxes directly, Greek states chose to auction the privilege of tax collection. The one who bids the most would hand over the funds to the state right away, then venture out to reclaim that amount, along with a generous profit on top. These tax farmers were received with as much enthusiasm as soggy garments at a grand gathering. Amidst the turmoil, the mechanism functioned in its own imperfect way. Taxes were the lifeblood that nourished temples, fueled wars, paved roads, and upheld the very essence of democracy. Yet beneath the surface, a quiet discontent brewed, particularly among the less fortunate, as instances of tax exploitation sparked moments of public fury, legal battles, or even banishment. Welcome to the Inca Empire, a realm where taxes were not settled with coins or even cocoa beans. Your payment came through the toil of your hands, the weariness of your feet, and the strain of your spine. In the heart of the Americas, a remarkable civilization emerged, crafted by the Inca. This grand empire spanned the lands we now know, as Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia, and Chile, all achieved without the use of coins, bustling markets, or the written word. So, how did they manage to finance everything with a tax system rooted solely in labor, referred to as the mitar? The mitar was not merely a suggestion. It was an obligation of state service. In the grand tapestry of the empire, every able-bodied male citizen was bound by duty to contribute a certain number of days each year. These days were often dedicated to noble endeavors such as constructing roads, cultivating state lands, extracting silver from the earth, or transporting stones destined for majestic temples and fortresses. Imagine the Inca tax form as a vibrant calendar, a tapestry of time rather than a mere bill. The brilliance of the mitar system lay in its remarkable efficiency. Rather than consolidating all efforts in a single location, the empire distributed labor among countless local communities known as ailas. When summoned, every ailu dispatched its workers, and in exchange, the empire offered sustenance, tools, and entry to shared storehouses. Your investment of time yielded the gift of survival. Seeking a way to span a majestic mountain gorge? The mitar was presented. Imagine a vast network of paved roads weaving through the landscape, linking the vibrant city of Cusco to the breathtaking heights of Machu Picchu, creating a journey that beckons adventurers from near and far. Imagine a colossal stone temple, each block as heavy as a bus, standing proud and majestic. Indeed, that as well. Yet, the burdens extended beyond mere strength. In the heart of the land, the citizens toiled diligently, cultivating the fertile state-owned fields, nurturing llamas that would carry burdens across the terrain, and skillfully weaving cloth destined for the military and the esteemed aristocracy. Whole areas dedicated themselves to the cultivation of maize, the harvesting of potatoes, or the crafting of textiles, all for the purpose of sharing and redistributing their bounty. In the heart of the empire, vast warehouses known as kolkas stood tall, their doors guarding treasures of sustenance. These storage structures were strategically positioned along the roads, ready to serve the people in times of famine or the chaos of war. In contrast to numerous ancient civilizations, the Incas had a unique approach, steering clear of traditional tax collectors in place of written records. Local leaders maintained quipas, those intricate knotted cords that served to monitor labor and production. In a time when the written word was not yet born, they relied on the intricate dance of a tax abacus woven from string, a marvel of complexity that spoke volumes without a single letter inscribed. Indeed, there was a presence of resistance. Upon the arrival of the Spanish, they seized the metar for the purpose of forced mining labor, a practice that swiftly descended into exploitation and peril. What was once a tapestry of shared responsibility unraveled into a haunting tale of despair. In the vibrant tapestry of the Islamic Golden Age, spanning the 8th to 13th centuries, the empires across the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Europe wove together some of the most intricate taxation systems the world had encountered since the days of Rome. In contrast to previous methods of raw extraction, Islamic taxation emerged intertwined with moral philosophy, a sense of religious obligation, and careful record-keeping. At the core of the narrative lay zakat, a sacred contribution woven into the very fabric of the 5 pillars of Islam. It wasn't merely a donation. It was a requirement. It was customary for every able Muslim to contribute approximately 2.5% of their wealth each year, extending a helping hand to the poor, those burdened by debt, and travelers in need. It was a levy crafted not for the grandeur of palaces or the might of armies, but to champion the cause of social justice. Envision it as the first grand design for sharing riches, guided by a higher power. Yet zakat was merely the prologue. In the realm of governance, there existed the kharaj, a land tax imposed upon non-Muslims who tilled the fertile soil of conquered territories. Alongside it was the jizya, a poll tax that non-Muslims paid, securing their protection and granting them exemption from the burdens of military service. These taxes were not mere whims. They were carefully crafted, defined by law, adjusted according to the wealth of individuals, and often the result of negotiations between the communities and their rulers. Those of different faiths could maintain their beliefs and traditions, provided they fulfilled their obligations punctually. In the midst of this complexity, the caliphates crafted a dedicated cadre of scribes and accountants to navigate the intricacies of their administration. In the heart of their bustling trade, they meticulously recorded transactions in elegant Arabic script, monitored the ebb and flow of markets, and crafted receipts that told the tale of commerce. In the heart of governance, the diwan stood not as a mere chaotic chest overflowing with coins, but as a well-oiled machine of centralized bureaucracy, manned by skilled clerks and governed by standardized forms. Imagine the meticulous organization of Excel sheets, yet crafted on fine parchment. One distinctive aspect of Islamic taxation was its intertwining with the regulation of markets. In the bustling bazaars, figures known as mutasibs wandered through the vibrant stalls, guardians of fairness, ensuring that prices were just, weights were true, and the spirit of morality thrived among the merchants and buyers alike. Should you attempt to conceal your gains to evade zakat, the mutasib may emerge, armed with a scale, a piercing gaze, and perhaps a verse from the Quran to underscore the gravity of the situation. Though corruption lingered in the shadows, the light of regular audits and public accountability kept it at bay. In the shadows of the bustling streets, some rulers, such as Umar ibn al-Khattab, donned disguises to blend in with the crowd, ensuring that the weight of taxes did not suffocate the lives of their subjects. In a remarkable tapestry of history, the intricate dance of taxation during the Islamic Golden Age wove together the threads of profit and piety. It constructed schools, hospitals, and libraries, igniting an intellectual renaissance that would shape Europe for generations to come. In the age of knights and castles, the act of paying taxes transformed into a grim dance of survival, where the stakes were high and the price of defiance could cost you dearly. As the kings and nobles basked in their perceived divine favor, it was the humble peasants who bore the heavy burden of each coin, chicken, and bale of hay that vanished into the ever-hungry tax wagon. Behold the infamous medieval tax, known as the tithe. This wasn't a tax imposed by the state, but rather a required 10% of your earnings given to the church. Thus, a portion of your harvest, animals, or catch was destined for the local monastery. Declined to settle the bill? It wasn't merely a matter of avoiding taxes. You were flirting with the very edge of eternal damnation. It's challenging to dispute. A levy supported by the looming specter of eternal damnation. And so, the feudal dues arrived. In the days of yore, if you found yourself among the humble folk, your existence resembled a continuous offering to your lord, a life bound by the unyielding ties of fealty that you invested in the soil that nourished your crops, in the mill that ground your grains, and in the oven that transformed your dough into warm, golden loaves. Have you tied the knot? That was a charge. Have you come into possession of your father's land? Yet another charge has appeared. Did you experience a bountiful harvest this season? Prepare for a cheerful tax collector to arrive at your doorstep, ready with an outstretched hand and an imaginative array of new fees. In England, following the Norman conquest, the system of taxation took on a more structured and foreboding nature. Under the reign of William the Conqueror, the Doomsday Book emerged as a monumental record, meticulously detailing the ownership of land and property, right down to the number of pigs tucked away in the backyard. It was like a precision instrument, honing in on its target, leaving no one untouched by its watchful eye. In the 13th century, rulers unearthed innovative methods to gather resources, particularly for the purpose of warfare. In the realms of France and England, the rulers took a bold step, weaving the fabric of governance by introducing direct taxes on the wealth of their subjects, both in income and property. Yet, with the rise of centralized authority, there emerged a growing tide of discontent. Tax collectors were frequently loathed even more than invading armies. And when the powers that be overstepped their bounds, the people rose up in defiance. In the year 1381, a fierce uprising known as the English Peasants' Revolt ignited, fueled by the anger over a harsh poll tax that demanded a fixed amount from each individual, no matter their wealth. It was akin to asking both a noble and a peasant to pay the same tribute, all the while believing that such an oversight would go unnoticed. But they caught on, didn't they? In the tapestry of medieval Europe, taxation was a delicate balance, carefully woven to gather enough gold for grand castles, magnificent cathedrals, and noble crusades, yet mindful not to stir the ire of the populace into a frenzy of pitchforks and flames. Thus, from the humble cocoa bean to the stark reality of urine, from the staple rice to the grim shadows of forced labor, the tapestry of ancient taxation wove a narrative far beyond mere economics. It was a tale woven with themes of power, control, and the delicate balance that exists between those who govern and those who are governed. With each coin, each grain, and each act of defiance, a tale unfolds. To the Vikings, death was merely a new beginning. Thus commenced the first chapter of an unfolding adventure. Life danced on the edge of uncertainty, a whirlwind of moments that could be both harsh and ephemeral. Yet the end. There, the true journey unfolded, and based on the life you led, or perhaps more crucially, the manner of your passing, you might discover yourself in remarkably diverse realms beyond the veil of death. In the realm of legends, Valhalla stood as the ultimate destination, the resplendent golden hall of Odin. Here the bravest of warriors, having met their fate in battle, would converge to indulge in grand feasts, engage in fierce contests, and ready themselves for the cataclysmic Ragnarok, the twilight of the gods. To attain Valhalla, one must meet their end in combat, preferably while engaging in acts of valor and glorious bloodshed. Should that option be absent from the offerings, one could still find solace in Folkvanger, the enchanting realm of the goddess Freya, who claimed the first choice of the fallen souls. It is said that her hall held a similar level of prestige, albeit with a lesser number of head injuries. Yet not every spirit found its way to the realm of the valiant. Those who departed from this world due to illness, the passage of time, or a lack of vibrancy were believed to wander into hell, the enigmatic domain governed by the goddess bearing the same name. In a twist of fate, hell emerges not as a realm of punishment, but rather as a quieter existence, where the echoes of drinking horns and the fervor of battle songs are replaced by a more tranquil ambience. With a richly woven spiritual tapestry, it's no wonder that Viking funeral rites unfolded as meticulously crafted performances, serving as a tribute, a guiding light for the soul, and a display for those still among the living. A meticulously planned farewell reflected honor, affluence, and the standing within the community. A careless one? That was a tale woven with threads of haunting, bad luck, or perhaps the tragic fate of a dishonored soul, forever wandering in search of peace. These funerals held no promise of closure. They were about guiding souls to the next realm, affirming that the departed held significance, both in their living days and beyond. In the quiet moments of a farewell, even the simplest of funerals may see the presentation of food, weapons, and cherished possessions, all meant to prepare the soul for the voyage ahead. And what of the distinguished few? The Norse were anything but subtle. In the ancient world, chieftains, warriors, and nobles were honored with magnificent farewells, where ships sailed into the horizon, flames danced in the night, burial mounds rose as monuments, and animal sacrifices were offered, all woven together in ceremonies, executed with hauntingly meticulous grace. The aim extended beyond merely paying tribute to those who had passed. It was to weave their legacy into the fabric of tales and the tapestry of remembrance. In the realm of the Vikings, the essence of existence lay in the tales that echoed through time, for to be remembered was to truly endure. The funeral was not the end of the tale. It marked the beginning of a new chapter beyond existence. In Viking society, the dead were honored with care, not merely discarded in a pit to be forgotten. With meticulous attention, purpose, and a sprinkle of dramatic charm, they were ready. If death were a voyage, then the departed must be adorned as a wanderer and equipped for the journey ahead. When someone departed from this world, their body was tenderly washed, lovingly combed, and adorned in the most exquisite attire. This was not a matter of pride. It held a deeper meaning. Upholding cleanliness was a mark of respect, while elegant attire ensured that the departed journeyed into the next realm with dignity. A chieftain could be displayed in a richly embroidered gown, embellished with exquisite brooches and shimmering beads. Jewelry transcended mere adornment. It served as a vessel for the soul's journey. In the grand tapestry of existence, the presence of weapons was undeniably crucial. A valiant warrior could find rest with his sword, axe or spear, accompanied by a shield, each a testament to his fierce battles and noble spirit. These were not mere ceremonial props. They were genuine instruments, meant for the journey beyond. Indeed, when preparing for a day of battle in Valhalla, one would surely desire their most cherished weapon at hand, Even the everyday individuals were occasionally laid to rest with knives or humble tools, hinting that practicality held as much significance as rank. In the afterlife, the departed were bestowed with treasures for their journey-drinking horns to toast with, cooking pots for feasts, combs for grooming, dice for games of chance, and occasionally food and mead to savor. It feels like they are preparing for an epic journey, gathering a handful of treats and a touch of amusement for the road ahead. These items held significance in various realms, fulfilling practical needs, embodying religious beliefs, and evoking cherished memories. In certain instances, these items were intentionally shattered prior to interment, a ritual believed to liberate the essence of the object for its journey in the realm beyond. The hierarchy of society held significant influence. The greater the stature or significance of the individual, the more intricate the preparations become. In the annals of history, there exist accounts of devoted servants or slaves being offered as sacrifices to accompany their masters into the afterlife. Such occurrences were infrequent and typically reserved for those of noble stature. It was indeed a harsh reality, yet in the eyes of the Vikings, there lay a profound honor in following one's lord into the realm beyond. Once the body was prepared, it was gently laid out, allowing the community a moment to grieve, reflect, and bid their final farewells. It was during this time that the funerary rituals would truly commence. Prayers, chants, and the art of weaving telas to honor and preserve the legacy of those who have passed. For the Vikings, the act of preparing the dead was not a somber duty. It was a gesture born from deep affection, profound reverence, and a sense of duty to the universe. They were not merely preparing a lifeless body. They were equipping a spirit for its voyage into the unknown. When one envisions Viking funerals, a vivid image emerges of a fiery longship gliding towards the horizon, its sails engulfed in flames, as it bears a valiant warrior on his journey to Valhalla. It's a vivid scene etched into the fabric of pop culture, filled with cinematic flair, dramatic flair, and a touch of impracticality. Yet, one must ponder the accuracy of it all. The brief response, a blend of truth and a touch of artistry. The Vikings shared a profound bond with their ships. These were not merely ways to get from one place to another. They embodied power, status, and the essence of existence itself. To find oneself laid to rest within a ship, or even alongside a fragment of one, marked the most profound of goodbyes. For those who navigate the waves, those who fight with honor, and those of noble birth, it symbolized a voyage back to the ocean, a communion with the divine, or the grand adventure that lay before them. Yet, against the common narrative, the majority of Viking funeral ships were not ignited and sent drifting into the ocean. That image probably arises from a blend of medieval legends and the evocative artistry of 19th century romantic paintings.in. Truth, complete ship burials were uncommon and costly endeavors. In those moments of ritual, the vessel found its resting place upon the earth, where the remains and treasures were carefully laid to rest within. The entire edifice was then either enveloped beneath a mound of earth or consumed by flames, marking the end of its journey. Among the most renowned tales is that of the Oseberg burial discovered in Norway. Within its depths lay a masterfully sculpted vessel, cradling two elegantly adorned women, enveloped by an array of textiles, sledges, and offerings of animals. No flames, only the essence of earth and the weight of legacy. In another tale, the Gokstad burial revealed the remains of a chieftain, accompanied by his weapons, tools, and even horses offered in sacrifice. Once more, devoid of water and fire, only the essence of honor and the art of craftsmanship remain. In that context, one can find instances of cremation burials that featured boats or their symbolic representations. In certain areas, smaller vessels or stone outlines resembling boats played a role in cremation rituals. with the pyre constructed right upon the ship. The unfolding of these events was nothing short of spectacular, though they were not without their logistical complexities. To set an entire boat ablaze required an abundance of wood, ample space, and a heart steeled against the flames. The flames danced with purpose, their glow revealing secrets untold in the ancient tales of the Vikings. Fire was seen as a sacred force, a purifying flame that lifted the smoke toward the heavens, connecting the mortal realm with the divine. It also kept the deceased from rising as wandering souls, a genuine concern in Norse mythology. Viking funerals were not merely somber events. They were treasures for the journey beyond. The departed were not dispatched without their due farewells. Instead, they were adorned with grave goods, a carefully curated collection meant to provide solace, prestige, and the means to thrive in the afterlife. Let us embark on our journey with the fundamentals. In the realm of the Vikings, each burial, whether of a humble farmer or a mighty jarl, was a tapestry woven with tools, weapons, and cherished personal treasures. A man could find himself laid to rest alongside his sword, axe, or bow, each a testament to his valor and the tales of battles fought. A woman could possess an array of treasures, from keys and brooch to weaving tools and cooking pots, each holding a tale of its own. These were not mere tokens of symbolism. It was said that these were meant for the soul's journey after death, guiding it to whatever realm awaited beyond in the realms of Valhalla and Hell. It was universally understood that one should never arrive unarmed or lacking the essentials of home. Those of greater means were honored with more extravagant farewells. In certain burials, one might find drinking horns, board games, imported silks, musical instruments, and even entire carts or sledges, each telling a tale of the lives once lived in the renowned Oseberg burial. A woman was laid to rest with a beautifully adorned wagon, 5 masterfully carved animal heads, and a plethora of textiles, enough to establish a boutique in the realm beyond. Yet what truly distinguished Viking funerals was the ritual of animal sacrifice. In the grand tapestry of elite burials, horses emerged as cherished companions, embodying status, serving as vehicles of transportation, and representing the essence of power. In a remarkable discovery, archaeologists have unearthed graves where multiple horses lie in a meticulous arrangement, a poignant testament to their sacrifice for a significant occasion. In this tale, dogs, hawks, and even oxen emerge, each selected for their unique spiritual or symbolic significance, weaving a rich tapestry of meaning. In certain instances, the offerings reached far beyond the realm of animals, in a somber twist of fate. It was not uncommon for those who served to meet their end, laid to rest beside their master in a final act of loyalty. This was not mere cruelty. It was something deeper, more profound. It was seen as a testament to loyalty or service, yet through the lens of today, it undeniably carries a somber weight. In certain narratives, such as that of Ahmad ibn Fadlan, there are vivid depictions of harrowing rituals, where a slave girl was sacrificed in a solemn ceremony to accompany a chieftain into the afterlife, under the belief that she would continue to serve him even in death. Every item laid to rest, whether brimming with life or devoid of it, carried a significance. The Vikings held a profound belief that the soul required sustenance, much like it did during its earthly journey. Grave goods served as offerings, supplies, and safeguards intended to convey status and purpose beyond the veil of existence. In the realm of the Vikings, death was not merely an end. It etched its presence into the very fabric of existence, and that mark loomed large, undeniable, and could be seen from great distances. Step into the burial mound, known as Haugarin, Old Norse, a meticulously constructed hill that rises over the departed, a tribute to their life, their accomplishments, and let's face it, their place in society. These were not mere heaps of earth. Viking burial mounds stood as intentional monuments crafted with dedication and skill. Upon the rise of a chieftain's mound, one might find a hidden vessel or a wooden chamber adorned with treasures for the afterlife, carefully sealed beneath the embrace of stone and earth. Some were cloaked in lush turf, harmonizing with the landscape, while others remained stark and rugged, a lasting testament to those who once walked the earth. A significant figure rests in this place. The magnitude of the mound held significance. A grander mound, a more profound legacy. These were not merely graves. They stood as emblems of status, tangible echoes of a family's might, affluence, and lineage. In certain instances, mounds were meticulously arranged in distinct patterns, taking on the forms of ships or aligning with celestial events for ritualistic purposes. Indeed, the Vikings embodied practicality, yet their essence was steeped in rich symbolism. These mounds also served as a vessel for remembrance and the art of narrative. In that place, families would come together to partake in seasonal rituals, share feasts, or pledge their oaths. The burial mound emerged as a connection across time, linking the living with those who have passed, and at times it held the stories of more than one soul laid to rest. Over the years, mounds have evolved to hold numerous graves, transforming a solitary burial into a grand testament to lineage. Thus, the land became more than mere territory for the living. It was a realm intertwined with the presence of those who had passed, weaving together identity and memory through the ages. Not every Viking burial was steeped in grandeur. In the realm of the ordinary, one might find themselves resting beneath unadorned graves or humble stone circles, particularly in areas where the earth and available space rendered the construction of grand mounds an unfeasible endeavor. Yet, even these held significance, adorned with offerings, remnants of cremation, and aligned with the celestial dance of the sun or stars. It served as a poignant reminder that even in the quiet embrace of death, the indomitable spirit of the Viking yearned for significance. Shall we set it ablaze or lay it to rest beneath the earth? The Viking funeral conundrum unfolded in a tapestry, woven with threads of region, status, era, and belief, each element shaping the narrative in its own unique way. Though contemporary depictions of Vikings often embrace the spectacle of roaring flames and fiery goodbyes, the reality is far more intricate. In the heart of their communities, the Vikings embraced both the fiery embrace of cremation and the solemnity of inhumation, often practicing these rituals side by side. Let us embark on a journey through the process of cremation. In the early days of the Vikings, particularly in Sweden and certain regions of Denmark, the practice of cremation reigned supreme. The body would find its final resting place upon a funeral pyre, encircled by cherished grave goods, and then ignited in a solemn blaze. The flames danced with purpose, transforming chaos into clarity, a sacred liberation of the soul. The ascending smoke lifted the spirit into the ether, destined for Odin's embrace, or perhaps a realm beyond our understanding. Once the flames had surrendered to the night, the remnants of what once was ashes and charred bones were tenderly gathered, destined to find their final resting place in an urn, or to be scattered lovingly within a stone-lined grave. Yet, the act of cremation transcended the mere aspiration of reaching the divine. It held practical significance as well. In communities where the land was scarce, or where the lurking dangers of wild creatures threatened the safety of shallow burials, the element of fire emerged as a logical choice. And let us not overlook the psychological aspect. The flames consumed the body, sealing the fate of the departed, ensuring they would not walk among the living again. In the realm of Norse myths, one encounters a tapestry woven with restless spirits, undead warriors, and haunting revenants, each tale echoing through the ages. Turning a body to ash rendered the haunting less probable. As the sands of time shifted, particularly during the twilight of the Viking Age. The practice of inhumation laying to rest whole bodies began to weave itself into the fabric of society. Increasingly shaped by the rising tide of Christianity, burial practices aligned closely with the Christian beliefs surrounding resurrection and the sanctity of the body. Long before the dawn of Christianity, certain Viking communities embraced the practice of burial within chambers, ships, or wooden coffins. Here, the body was laid out in its finest attire, encircled by cherished possessions, animals, and tools, creating a scene rich with meaning and tradition. Curiously, the two methods frequently found themselves side by side. A chieftain could be honored with a fiery cremation upon a grand pyre, while his beloved wife would find her final resting place in the earth nearby. Perhaps the flames of cremation embraced the valiant warriors, while the earth welcomed the humble farmers and traders into its nurturing embrace. The decision may reveal one's essence, societal standing, or the traditions of their homeland. What brought both rites together was the meticulous attention to detail and the reverence shown. In the shadow of ancient tales, the Viking dead were honored with great respect, whether they ascended as smoke or lay hidden beneath the earth, embarking on their journey to the next realm in whatever manner they deemed fit. Viking funerals were anything but silent ceremonies. They were ceremonial farewells, brimming with melodies, narratives, toasts, and meaningful gestures. Though the tangible care of the body, through burning, burying, or loading onto ships, held great significance, the ceremonies performed by the living carried equal weight. To pass from this world with grace was one thing, yet to be etched in memory, that was the true essence of everlasting life. At the core of numerous Viking funerals flowed the melodies and verses of their tales. Bards, or poets, held a vital place in safeguarding the memories of those who had passed on. They crafted heartfelt elegies and funeral verses, weaving together tales of the individual's accomplishments, their heritage, their triumphs, and the charming idiosyncrasies that made them unique. These verses transcended mere sorrow, weaving an epic tapestry that transformed the departed into legendary figures of saga. If there were no songs sung in your honor at your own farewell, can you truly claim to have lived like a Viking? Funerals also included the ritual of toasting, referred to as the minnie. As the drinking horns were passed around, mead flowed freely, and each heartfelt toast celebrated not only the departed, but also the gods, ancestors, and the very essence of fate. In these poignant moments, a tapestry of emotions wove together, intertwining grief with the warmth of companionship. It was sorrow unveiled through the flickering glow of flames and the sweetness of aged nectar. At the graveside, offerings were laid down, sometimes a feast, other times a blade, and on occasion, a drop of blood. In the solemnity of farewell, the act of sacrifice, particularly of animals, unfolds as a poignant ritual, meant to illuminate the path for the soul's journey into the afterlife. In the heart of ancient gatherings, a Gothi, priest, or vulva, Cirrus, would take the lead, weaving together ceremonies filled with chants, symbolic gestures, and perhaps a few whispered incantations that danced just beyond the edge of propriety. In more affluent funerals, ceremonial displays unfolded. In the 10th century, Ibn Fadlan, an Arab diplomat, recounted the elaborate funeral of a Rus chieftain, probably a Norseman residing by the Volga. This solemn event required days of meticulous preparation, included animal sacrifices, and featured the tragic yet noble act of a slave girl who willingly chose to accompany her master in death. While unsettling by today's measures, it unveils the dramatic and spiritual significance the Vikings attributed to their rituals surrounding death. At long last, the time would come for the memorial feasts to unfold. Weeks after the event had passed, these actions were taken to resolve matters, reallocate belongings, and pay tribute to the legacy. New leaders may emerge, oaths will be taken, and tales will be recounted once more. For the Vikings, death was not merely an end, but a profound journey into the unknown. Once upon a time, there was a tale waiting to be shared, a melody yearning to be performed, and a life deserving of a grand celebration filled with warmth, song, and libations. As flames devoured the flesh and melodies lifted the spirit, the earth held fast to the legacy. In the world of the Vikings, the art of remembrance was a deliberate craft, not a mere happenstance dot. It was etched, letter by letter, into the very bones of the earth. And so began the ascent of the rune stone, a tradition among the Vikings that would stand the test of time. Runestones were not gravestones as we understand them today. You weren't setting a tiny flag beside a tale's landscape. A grand public monument was being raised, destined to capture the gaze, invite contemplation, and earn reverence. These stones stood along roads, near bridges, at crossroads, and beside burial mounds, vivid proclamations of the existence and impact of those who have passed on. The inscriptions danced upon the stone in runic script, a mystical alphabet that echoed through the realms of the Norse world. Some were straightforward dot in honor of his brother. Gunnar lifted this stone, a tribute to their bond that transcends time. Some were grand narratives, weaving tales of journeys, conflicts, and heroic acts. Some even wove in dark incantations. For those bold enough to confront or disturb the stone, should you dare to shift this stone, may your bones decay and your livestock bear no milk. The Vikings were a force to be reckoned with. And as the stone stood tall, some celebrated the valiant warriors and revered chieftains, while others whispered tales of merchants, intrepid travelers, and the remarkable women who shaped their world. In the heart of Denmark, the Jelling stones stand tall, monumental runestones crafted by the mighty King Harald Bluetooth. These stones serve as a tribute to his beloved parents and a bold proclamation of Denmark's embrace of Christianity. In a captivating dance of cultures, they weave together ancient pagan customs and the fresh threads of Christian influence, revealing the evolving tale of runestones through the ages. Crafting a rune stone came at a considerable cost. It called for a master of runes, patience, and a substantial chunk of stone, typically granite or sandstone, yet the prize was everlasting. 2. Raise a rune stone was to declare that this life held significance. This individual will linger in our memories forever. Even centuries later, their voices resonate through the ages. Some runestones told tales through images, depicting ships, weapons, animals, or symbols of power. Some took a more imaginative approach, bending runes into the forms of serpents or the elegant curves of dragons. The craftsmanship spoke volumes, intertwining with the essence of the message it conveyed. In a realm steeped in the art of spoken tales, where narratives flowed from lips to eager ears, the rune stone stood as a tangible testament, an indelible mark etched into the very fabric of existence. Despite their formidable strength and unwavering resolve, the Vikings harbored a deep-seated fear that no amount of fire, stone, or sword could readily vanquish the departed who refused to rest in peace. In the realm of Norse belief, it is said that not all spirits found their way to rest in tranquility. Some chose to stay, some found their way back, and some simply would not depart. From the shadows emerged the Draga, the restless dead, their bloated forms rising from the earth, eyes aglow with an eerie light, and an unmistakable air of menace surrounding them. They were not ethereal specters. They were tangible, menacing, and filled with malice, infamous for shattering bones, splintering doors, and occasionally descending upon slumbering souls like a heavy, vengeful mass. A chilling tale set in the Viking era, where the terror might just come from someone you recognize from your own village. What leads someone to embrace the art of drag? Often, it's a tale of a tragic end or a life filled with hardship. Those driven by greed, violence, or a lack of honor stood out as the most likely contenders. Thus were those who carried the weight of unresolved matters. Envy, retribution, a bond forged in steel, or perhaps an abiding animosity towards their kin, not an ill-conceived farewell, might leave a restless soul behind. Should the burial rites be conducted improperly, or if the grave goods were taken, the deceased might choose to return for a visit. To safeguard against this, Viking funerals were accompanied by sacred rituals. At times, the body would be interred beneath a weighty array of stones, meticulously positioned to hold it firmly in place. Other graves reveal evidence of being punctured by spears or stakes, a precautionary measure that would surely impress any contemporary vampire hunter. In the ritual of cremation, the body was consumed by flames, not merely for the sake of purification, but to obliterate the very form that the Draga might seek to reclaim. Yet, not every spirit that remained was malevolent. Some were the echoes of ancestors, providing wisdom or keeping a vigilant eye on the family's heritage. These ethereal beings, known as Fildur or Disir, hold the power to be guardians if approached with reverence. Seasonal offerings and quiet prayers graced their burial sites, a testament to the reverence held for them. Even the realm beyond life was not devoid of conflict. Imagine a warrior's spirit destined to engage in endless battles within the hallowed halls of Valhalla. It may seem magnificent at first glance, yet the truth reveals a relentless struggle, devoid of respite, where weekends are but a distant dream. The Vikings welcomed the notion of conflict, persisting even beyond the grave. In the grand tapestry of existence, death weaves itself not merely as a conclusion, but as a profound transformation. It marked the dawn of something new, a cautionary tale, an echo from the past, and a narrative waiting to unfold. The departed lingered, their presence woven into the fabric of existence. They hung in the air like whispers, woven through smoke, melodies, and the weight of stone, and at times you could feel the unexpected echo of footsteps trailing behind you.